I'll just start off first. I'm sure you guys can have some questions about the gambling issue. All I'll say on that is it's an ongoing investigation with the NFL right now. And we're constantly, it's an ongoing process, educating our players, educating our coaches on the situation. I think the league just comes in, they give their piece on it and what they talk about and how they handle it and what the players need to know and going forward in that matter. And like I said, I'm not going to get into a lot of detail on this stuff, but that's where it's at.
I mean, I think the last meeting made it apparent of the rules of what's right about gambling and what's wrong and what you're allowed to do and what you should. So, I mean, it's a hard topic to even speak on right now, just because how sensitive it is around the league. But right now, I would just encourage anybody to just don't gamble. It's not worth it.
Well said by EJ Speed. Don't gamble. It's not worth it. And over time, you will lose. That may not be popular with any sports books out there that could or could not be partnering with NBC or PFT in the future. And frankly, that's something I'm going to think long and hard about. We've never had a sports book partner specifically dedicated to PFT. And I want to make sure it's somebody who promotes responsible gaming, because when you go into it, you need to understand you are going to lose. You are going to be spending your money, your entertainment dollars, discretionary income that you hopefully have set aside from the money you need to take care of your family and yourself, and that you are going to lose it. And at the end of the day, you treat that loss as the money you'd spend buying something, whatever it may be. Whatever money you budget, you assume you're going to lose it. And if you win it, don't get yourself caught up in this idea that all of a sudden you've cracked the code. You're still going to lose over time. It's funny, the first and only time I was in Las Vegas, driving cross country in early 1986, and I'm sure Las Vegas is very different 37 years later, and we're going to find out with the next Super Bowl. My buddy, because I had a job out there, and we drove my car out, and he flew back, he had won. He was up $100 in the casino. And he refused to leave until he lost it, because he didn't want to think, and he was brilliant, he was ahead of his time, he didn't want to end his gambling adventure thinking he had won money. He wanted to lose whatever he was up, so it was a wash, it was even, so he wouldn't be tempted to gamble in the future. And there is simple brilliance in that mindset.
Yeah, I mean, I would say he's more brilliant if he just walked out of the damn place with the money and then just I'm not going to come back. Then I'd go, that's brilliant. What great dedication that guy has there. But you're right. I mean, come on, it's like nobody ever wins. Somebody, every now and then you hear a few positive stories. But gosh, and the one thing I know about, what leads to one bet leads to 500 bets. My friends that gamble, family members that gamble, right? It's like, oh yeah, they started out betting on football because they felt like they knew football. Now they're betting on what color shoes somebody's going to wear in an NBA game and like all this stupid crap where I just go, damn, give me the money and I'll do something useful with it with my family. But it's a slippery slope there. But here, other thing too, Mike, I just want to talk about here. I think we all can agree, and your points are real, that the NFL could maybe be better with this, more concise in the messaging. But this is the second player in 2 days that's kind of gone, I don't know how you couldn't know this. The meeting we just had recently is very clear about this. Now, of course, Isaiah Rodgers, and this all happened before the meeting, and was last year. But I'm sure there was the same meeting last year too. That's where it's a little bit, yeah, it could be better. But at the same time, it's one of those where it's like, damn, I mean, it's in your face for sure, at least once or twice in the offseason where it is thoroughly explained. And that's where I just find it hard to have a lot of excuses there in that department.
Well, Isaiah Rodgers' situation, if the reports are accurate, speaks to the idea that he knew there was an issue.
That's right.
He was using an account in someone else's name.
Right.
He just didn't realize that Big Brother carrying around in his own pocket the supercomputer that is going to provide the evidence that is used against him was going to be as effective as it was in showing someone in the Colts building is making these bets, and they figured out who it was and what he was doing and the account that he was using. Apparently, and I saw this item from Mike Kliss of 9 News in Denver, that Tom Brady has been enlisted by the NFL as the guy who provides an introduction. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Your career means more than that type of a message. Now, I don't know that the guy who's been sued in multiple crypto fraud cases for touting fake currencies in this FTX pyramid scheme, which it turned out to be, I don't know that he's the best guy to tell people not to gamble on sports. Maybe the message is if you're going to gamble, gamble on something completely unrelated to sports like cryptocurrency. But, the bottom line is it isn't worth it. You will lose. And it's hard. You're right. The one thing that we've left out of our conversation, we look at it as they didn't know or they thought they could outsmart the system.
Yeah.
What if they're just addicted?
Yeah, that's right.
What if they're just addicted and they can't help it? They developed the addiction in college because they didn't have the restrictions they now have. Now they get to the NFL and they can't stop.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem too.
Definitely.
So, and that's why, those of us in the media, and we talk about different bets that can be made and we show odds from time to time, but above all else, only gamble with money that you are prepared to lose, that you would otherwise spend on something. And instead of buying a new driver for your golf bag or new rims for your car, which I'm currently thinking about doing, that could be the birthday present that I give to myself this year, new rims for my car, or whatever it is that you're thinking about spending money on, treat it like that. Disposable income that you don't care if it goes away and never comes back, because you have to assume that eventually, even if you get caught up in the dopamine rush that comes from winning, you're eventually going to lose. That's the message that everyone needs to understand. You can't win. That's why I don't do it. My dad hammered that into me. My dad, the bookie, hammered it into me. Thank God, all those years ago. You can't win. And that message took. Of anything else he ever taught me, that's the most important. When you gamble, you're going to lose, and you just have to accept that before you ever even do it.
Yeah. That's kind of how I feel about it. I'm capable of emotionally attaching to just about anything over. Oh, I like this player, I don't like. So it doesn't affect me. I can do that very easily. I think there's some people that want those emotions during a game, and this is how they try to do it. But, yeah, from what I've witnessed, it's a slippery slope. It really is. Brady, yeah, he's got his cryptocurrency issue. But the one thing I'll say about Brady being the poster child or the guy that's going to say something is when Brady's on the screen, everybody sits up and listens and watches. So if he says don't gamble and whatever else, everybody's going to pay attention. It is Tom Brady, and he is God to football players.
For us, one of the reasons there's no temptation to do it, we do our weekly picks thing, and that's where
you get a little juices flowing
boost
there.
Comes from.
Yeah,
we have fun from that. We have no money on it.
Right.
It's just bragging rights, and we know we're going to talk about it, and we're going to show the graphic. So I don't care about the money. See, that's the thing. That's the well, I would have won last year, but it is good for both of us generally that we don't have money on it. But you get your enjoyment. Like, I don't need it to enjoy football. I don't need to have skin in the game, literally, to enjoy it. So, and if you feel like you do, then maybe you need to reassess it. It should be something that is completely ancillary and separate. And I hate what it can do to people. And if we see what it's doing to professional athletes, there have to be stories out there of folks who have gotten caught up in all these. And you see it. The media companies that have straddled that line of also pushing gambling and trying to get people to gamble, bet, let's go win. You got to be careful with that, because there are going to be people who fall victim to it or aren't smart enough or
it gets everybody
sufficiently addicted to
gets everybody
to not back off.
It's you can't stop it, like you said. There's it. I don't care what part of life or people we saw Craig Carton, right? The great radio host in New York City, WFAN, he had an issue with it, right? It gets the best of people. There's high-level golfers that I hear about or that had allegedly joined the Live Tour because they got such a gambling debt that they had to take that Saudi money to help pay it out. It's everywhere. Lawyers, doctors, it doesn't matter. It is everywhere.
Hey, when my dad had his bar back in the 70s and, pre-internet, pre-cell phone, he would send the betting sheet with all the lines for the upcoming NFL games by mail.
Oh, I thought you were
And
saying
I
Morse
stumbled
code for a
across
second there.
Funny. Pony Express. I came across the box with all the envelopes, and you start flipping through it. I know these names. Judge, lawyer,
Yeah, right.
doctor,
Right.
city council,
Yeah.
everybody.
Right.
Everybody.
Right.
It's even when it was illegal, all those years it was illegal, everybody did it.
Yeah.
So you just have to be careful with it, because what happens is you start chasing your losses and doubling down, and it blows up in your face quickly. You get more desperate, and you think you're one bet away from turning everything around, and you're not. And even if you turn it around, it's temporary. Over time, you're going to lose. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.